Izzy, welcome back to Lou McWilliam, who did walk the entire Great Wall.
I don't think so.
Yes, I did. I did the whole thing non-stop.
Yeah, in 6 days. I don't think so.
Reminder, you came and told us about it before you went, and I thought it would be really nice to have a little wrap-up. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Remind us what it was all for.
Okay. I joined a group of 20 Australians, and we walked along part of the Great Wall, raising money for the Australian Cancer Research Foundation.
Well, there were a bunch of 20 Brits who got their 2 points earlier.
Actually, there were a few Brits. Yeah.
And so it's always nice, as the A-team, love it when a plan comes together. It obviously did. But was it so different to what you expected?
It's a difficult question. No and yes. No, in terms of the wall itself, it was as I had expected. I've looked at a lot of books, seen fantastic photos, read a bit about the history. So yeah, sure, that was as I expected. In terms of the group, I really wasn't sure what to expect and what kind of people, I might meet and how it would be. I remember going on a cruise a few, years ago, and I wanted to get off as soon as I got on. I did a 4-day cruise, and oh my goodness, I couldn't get off the boat. And so I was a little bit nervous. But how much time do we have to talk about the group?
As much as you want to.
Oh, brilliant. Lovely, lovely group of people.
Yeah.
From day one, I knew that I was going to be in for a good week. I was in good company.
Yeah.
Interesting mix of people. It was mostly females.
Were they all there for a reason, like you, or was it a mixture of some people just wanting to do it?
A mixture. There was one large group from a company in Sydney called Alco Finance, and they had actually sent along 10 or 11 people. So that was a big effort on their part, and they did a tremendous fundraising job in Sydney, and they got huge help from their law firm, Mallesons, who also have a branch here in Hong Kong. So hopefully I'm going to be speaking with them. Because it doesn't
stop now, does it?
No, it doesn't, and it's an amazing, there's been quite a chain reaction, actually. I've had phone calls, I've had emails from people who Googled me and somehow found me, because of course my email address is rather long and my webpage is a rather long domain name. And this weekend I had a very, very nice letter from someone who'd read an interview that I'd done with the Australian Association in the October issue of the Kanga News, and it was a very heartwarming letter from a businessman who signed the letter off from his wife and his daughter as well as himself. But he said, congratulations on completing the trek and making a stand for cancer research. So that really made me feel so good, because I wasn't sure, what I'm doing, is this right?
Well, I think you must have known it was, because you have, as we said before, some serious personal reasons for wanting to do this. So I think you must have known it was right. Isn't it funny, though, you still wonder?
Yeah, I still wonder, because, I've not done this before. I didn't have, a sort of a map, really, as such, apart from what I just devised. I was given a lot of hints as to how I could fundraise, but I chose to do it in perhaps a rather unusual way. Putting myself on a flyer.
Why not? It's fine.
I have a slight degree of discomfort about that. But it's worked in that I've had a tremendous, feedback.
It's funny, isn't it? Because, as we just said, you had some serious reasons for doing this, apart from the fact that you wanted to do something to make a bit of a difference. And it's hard to deal with what you perceive to be your ego.
Yeah.
And when it comes to charity, I think it doesn't matter about that.
I'm glad to hear you say that. Yeah. I think that it's really helped me a lot, and I've been sort of pouring my heart out a little bit. Even following the interview with you before I went, one of my best mates was listening on the computer live.
A listener?
In Singapore. And she said that she went off and had a cry in the ladies afterwards. And I didn't really want that reaction, but it's unbelievable.
People will react in all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
A mixture of sorrow, I suppose, and a lot of joy, which is mission accomplished.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been through exactly, what I've been through, or are going through it now, and I'm so sorry, for anyone who's going through everything, all of this right now. But, we don't want to forget our loved ones, and, that lest we forget thing. You want to keep the memory.
Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Keep them alive as best you can.
Yeah.
In your research, how, what have you found to be the public's public's efforts raising money for cancer, as opposed to other things, I suppose?
I think there is a lot going on. I believe there was a walk yesterday around the peak for cancer. I did actually speak to people at the Hong Kong Cancer Fund last week. I made a call and hopefully can do something, with them. I know that there's something going on globally, like a charter, a global charter, to help really raise awareness. And the statistics are just horrible. In the next year, 10 million people, going to be diagnosed with cancer.
I talked to a lady from Time magazine last week who wrote the cover story about how breast cancer is now sweeping Asia. And it tends to go in trends, and nobody knows why. Nobody knows the answers to any of the questions. And all of a sudden, here we are in Asia, and people thought, oh, that was meant to be a Caucasian thing, but no, it's just so indiscriminate. Yeah. So, is this taking you in a different career path? Do you think?
Well, I think so. If I didn't have 2 young children, yeah, for sure. Because I'm fortunate, I've got a very supportive husband, and I certainly could do more, and I'd like to. I have spoken to a few different people, and I'm hoping to take this further. I'm going to be sharing photographs. I'm actually going to see some schools. I've been invited to go to the. That's
cool, because you said you wanted to do that.
Yeah. So I'm going in there in a couple of weeks and going to be speaking to 200 14, 15-year-old boys. And the reason for that is, to inspire them and also to help them realise that they're very fortunate and blessed in life. And to wake up every day and just realise how lucky they are, how blessed actually they are.
And not to take it for granted, because, the next day they could wake up and not be so blessed.
Yeah,
and that's the message that's really getting out, isn't it?
Yeah, tomorrow is a promise to no one, as that famous adage goes, and we have to really appreciate what we have. So
when you actually got there, we see all these wonderful pictures of the Great Wall. Did you have that, I knew it was big, but not this big feeling?
Yeah, yeah, I think so, especially some sections where it was just so open. Some sections were really, really mountainous, so you couldn't see like the true panoramic sort of view. But once we got to Gabeku and Jinshanling, it was just amazing. We could see watchtower after watchtower after watchtower, and they were built really, really close to each other, so that they could be within, 2 firing shots of an arrow or something like that. So they're really closely clustered. So that was really spectacular. Did
you get any good triv on the place about, how long this took and how many years, whatever?
Well, really not from speaking to the locals. I don't speak Mandarin very well, but just from reading. And I did read one statistic. I think it took like 5 years to build 500 yards or something. But the whole history about it is, it's I don't know, it's a little disturbing, the human sacrifice and the suffering and all that. So now we have this marvellous monument, which is just, it's mind-blowing, it's breathtaking to look at. But yet it's so sad, the cost of it, forced labour, the number of people who died. They say it's the longest cemetery on earth. There's lots of myths about the Great Wall.
And no real surprises, actually. The longest cemetery, this many years, no real surprises. This is one of the world's great things.
That's right.
And you walked it, so congratulations. And do keep us in the loop. Anything else you're doing to raise more money and awareness.